Alright babe, welcome or welcome back to the channel. If this is your very first time, my name is Toni and I'm about to tell y'all right now, don't get your panties in a bunch, okay? Because we're going to press some buttons and it's really all for good reason, but we're going to press some buttons today because we need to talk about what it means to be the nice girl and why we really need to move away from being the nice girl, or we need to find a little bit more balance when it comes to being the nice girl. So let me just first say, I have not done a video in this chair with this mirror behind me in a very long time. Like, I feel like I'm getting back to my roots, y'all. This is crazy because I have not done a video in this corner in like months. So it's just a nice little, you know, informal chit chat. Like, we're relaxed. So grab your wine. I don't have wine, but the last time I was sitting in this seat, I had some wine. But today I just have my water because, baby, we losing weight around here, okay? Let's go ahead and break down some of the qualities of being a nice girl, right? Once we have a little bit more understanding of some of the specific qualities that I want to pinpoint today, we can kind of break them down and talk about them as to why they could be problematic for you in your life right now. Nice girl qualities: pleasant. Somebody, you know, a nice girl is usually pleasant. She has a very calm aura about herself, right? She's very approachable, just very kind and gentle, right? A nice girl can also be a conflict avoider. So somebody who is just, you know, they don't like it. They want to avoid it at all costs. And that's not a problem if, you know, if that is one of your characteristics. That's not a bad characteristic to have. Like, let's get that understood. But somebody who tries to avoid conflict at all costs. A lot of nice girls can be givers, and they can also be very mild-mannered as far as their overall just energy and presence. Just somebody who's very, very mild-mannered. And you also have the nice girls who are very forgiving. You know, you have those who, you know, they just don't want to hurt a fly, right? And like I said, again, we'll break down all of these in a minute, but we're just talking about overall characteristics. Two other qualities that I want to talk about as far as being the nice girl. You have somebody who is readily available all the time. So again, nice girl is usually going to be available. She's going to be supportive. She's going to be there in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock in the morning when you catch a flat tire on your way home from the club. Now, y'all, let me stop because I don't even go to the club. But anyway, y'all get what I'm saying. And then somebody who usually just goes with the masses. They don't want to give their opinions on anything. They don't want to upset anybody. So, you know, if you and your friends are sitting there trying to debate between Chinese food and Chipotle, and you know doggone well you want some Chinese food. You know you want some Chinese food. But instead, you're like, oh, you know, just you guys pick whatever. I'm good with whatever. Those are some of the qualities. Obviously, we're not going to give every single quality. That would be a lot of qualities. I have a couple of statements, right? Statements that I put together that would be based on that nice girl. And what we want to think about is why, or not why, but what all of these statements have in common. I don't want to upset anyone. I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want anybody to feel excluded. I'm tired, but so-and-so really needs my help. Listening to all of those statements, what is the one thing that all of them have in common? The common denominator is people pleasing. And I'm sure you probably guessed it. Yes, you are right. We are talking about the people pleasing that happens when you decide to be that nice girl. Now, again, there is nothing wrong with being a nice girl or a nice woman, okay? That's a great quality to have when you're just overall generally a nice person. But what I want to talk about today is finding the balance, right? Because if you've been here, then you know I have really embarked on my feminine journey. I'm in my feminine era. I am really focusing on becoming the woman that I know that I'm destined to be, right? The Father has shown me the type of woman that I'm supposed to be. So I am making the transitions to become that woman. There has been a lot that I have had to reflect on, one of which is I have been a people pleaser a majority of my life. And I need to step away from that. I needed, because we ain't about that life no more. But I needed to step away from that. So I wanted to encourage you guys on today on how you can begin to ask yourself certain questions in the moment that are going to really have you think to yourself, okay, am I overextending myself in this moment, or am I going to focus on what my needs are in this moment, because baby, listen, Linda, okay? Listen, we are all grown, okay? I'm sure majority of you watching are probably, 25 plus now. I'm sure, there might be some youngsters on here that watch my makeup videos. Whatever the case, I am sure that the majority of you guys are probably around the same age as me, maybe a little older or a little younger. So we're all grown nonetheless. We are all experiencing life. Everybody likes to say life is life, and life is most certainly happening. It's most certainly happening. And I only bring that up because, again, when we think about the amount of things that we do for other people, we have to make sure that we're not overextending ourselves. We have to make sure that we are putting ourselves first in that situation, because you do have things going on in your life just like somebody else has something going on in their lives. In my preparation for this video, I was kind of doing research and things like that, and I did come across a book called I think The Nice Girl Syndrome. Now, what I want to tell y'all is the topics of that book are not going to be the topics that I discuss here. Bird's Eye View, that book was more about getting out of abusive relationships and finding your strength and that kind of thing. That is not what I want to discuss. I want to come from the perspective of, like I said, asking ourselves questions in the moment so that we can unlearn the bad behavior and learn a new behavior and begin to actually shift our way of responding, so that, again, we can become that woman that we really see fit for this era of life. So first things first that we have to understand that we need to do first is we have to create boundaries. Without boundaries, you are not going to have any kind of transformation or change, for that matter. And if you truly want change, you have to put an action plan behind it. Anytime that you're trying to have any kind of change in your life, and I'm talking, from attitude to habits, anything that you want has to have an actionable plan. So first of all, we want to create those boundaries for ourselves, and that's going to be something that you come up with for yourself. Maybe you want to turn your phone off at a certain time of night. Maybe you want to, not go out to brunch dates or dinner dates for the next 2 months because you want to focus on yourself, which is exactly what I told my friends. I was like, look here, I'm going to be in the house for the rest of the year. All I want to do is record my videos. I want to, just focus on myself, focus on my personal goals, focus on my family, and focus on dropping this weight. We have to create those boundaries. And like I said, we have to create an actionable plan in order to make those changes happen. So what does that look like? So I opened up with the qualities that I wanted to discuss today. And thinking about that action plan that we need to keep in mind, we need to have a counter action in the moment. Every time one of those qualities pops up, we need to ask ourselves a question. That's going to be your action plan right there, because once you put that action plan into place, what's going to happen is something might happen. You might be in a scenario, and let's just use the example of conflict avoider. So you might be in a situation where you find yourself amongst some conflict. Well, what we want to do is ask ourselves a question in that moment that's going to counteract what is currently going on. I hope y'all following me. I think it's making sense. We will want to ask ourselves questions in that moment that is going to shift our response. Once we begin to shift our response enough, right? And if you keep that going every single time you find yourself in a situation, your responses are going to begin to change. That is literally how habits are formed. We have to keep doing something repetitively until it becomes second nature to us. So that's exactly what we're doing here. We want to repetitively ask ourselves these questions so that we can make sure that we are standing up for ourselves and standing firm and, just being that stronger version of ourselves in order to become that more confident woman, in order to become that stronger woman, that woman that's firm, that woman that is just like a powerhouse. I have to shift my responses if I want to get to the version that I see myself being in my head. Let's go ahead and break down these questions that I have come up with that we can ask ourselves in the moment where we feel like our niceness is being taken for granted. Because like I said, it's great to be nice, it's great to be pleasant and sweet and calm, but we have to be firm sometimes. And don't think that, don't think that that's wrong for being firm or standing on your own, if you have to, because you're not going to tolerate certain things in your life anymore. So nice girl quality when we say we're a conflict avoider. If you ever find yourself in some conflict, which you may not, but if you do, I want you to ask yourself, do I need to be firm? I'm a conflict avoider. I really am. I don't like drama. I don't like drama. I never have. I don't like conflict. I really don't. Like, it stresses me out. It gives me anxiety. It just makes me cringe. It really does. But there are certain situations where I have to realize I need to be firm. If I'm not firm, people are not going to take me serious. People are not going to respect me and my boundaries. Again, we set those boundaries before this whole entire process. So if I'm not going to be firm in, who I am and stand firm in my beliefs or my opinions or whatever it is that I need to say in that moment, like, people are not going to respect you. So is your space being invaded? Are you being disrespected? Are you being taken advantage of? Okay. We are nobody's doormat, sweetie. You are not a doormat. You are the decorative art piece on the coffee table. Okay. But seriously, that's the kind of attitude that you have to have when we think about avoiding conflict. When we think about being a giver, it's a fine line. It really is. There's absolutely nothing wrong with giving. I'm a giver. I have a really big heart, and I know that I have to protect that as well, which is why I want you to think about this in the moment where you feel like you're giving. Ask yourself, are you giving too much? And also ask yourself, is this giving going to affect my finances? I've actually noticed over the years that I've been a giver to the point where I allowed it to affect my finances. I've done that a lot with my husband, and my husband has done that a lot with me. We are learning our lesson. It's okay to give, but sometimes we give too much. And what we also have to ask ourselves is, are we giving in order to rectify maybe an old situation that happened? I don't know. That's something that you have to ask yourself in the moment. But, just be cautious when you're giving, because sometimes you can give, and people will take from you. People will deplete your cup. So you have to just be careful about what you're giving and who you're giving it to. And that could be some type of support. That could be a monetary gift. That could be a physical gift. Whatever kind of gift it is, just be mindful of who is receiving that gift on the back end. Be mindful of that and pay attention to your situation, because you may need to stop yourself from giving, and that's just so that you can protect your boundaries that you set for yourself. The mild-mannered quality is very similar to the one who is a conflict avoider. If you're a very mild-mannered person, you really should be asking yourself, am I a pushover? Am I allowing people to do certain things within my personal space that I don't agree with? A very mild-mannered person, as we all know, is somebody who is, just very gentle, very kind, very soft, maybe soft-spoken, qualities of that nature. And so we really want to question ourselves in that moment to say, okay, am I just being somebody's doormat again? Am I being a pushover? Am I allowing too much to happen without me standing firm in my beliefs? Oh my gosh, I just burped. I'm sorry. Even though it may seem like, oh, she's just a mild-mannered person. But again, when you're mild-mannered, you avoid conflict. I feel like those go hand in hand. So just really question yourself in the moment to just make sure you are not being pushed over, and make sure that, again, you are standing firm in what your beliefs are. For my very supportive people, and this one is something that I have had to work on a lot, because I am that person. I am that sister, that friend, that cousin, that wife. I am that person who is going to give you all of the support in the world. I just feel like I don't know, it's wired in my DNA or something, that's just who I'm meant to be, is just that very supportive, encouraging person. You can probably even see that on my platform. I try to encourage a lot, and that's because I feel like everybody has the capability to succeed, to find happiness, to find love, to find all those things. So that is me. This is something I've personally dealt with a lot. I had to ask myself, is my support disrupting my peace? It is okay to remove yourself and go into isolation if you need to, if that's what's going to give you inner peace. You really have to start putting your peace of mind first, and you need to also vocalize it. If any of my girlfriends were sitting right here with me, all of them would tell you the same thing, and that is that Toni had to go in isolation. And I meant that because, again, I found myself giving so much support to everybody else that I was not giving enough to myself. Okay, even my sister, she tells me all the time, she's like, look, I'm trying to be better about these things. I'm learning how to deal with stuff on my own, but I do need to get some advice and support in this moment. Of course, I'm definitely going to give you all of the support that you need in that moment. But as you can see, now she comes to me and she's like, look, hey, I know that, you're kind of in isolation, but I do have something that I need some, advice on. So the fact that she even asks me lets me know that they heard me. And that's why I said you have to vocalize what it is that you want, because if you don't vocalize it, people are not going to respect what it is that you want, that you want to happen, because they don't know what it is that you want to happen. I can give all the support and encouragement to everybody else, but there were a lot of times I couldn't even give that to myself. So, removing myself from that nice girl quality and creating those boundaries has allowed me to find a level of inner peace that, baby, I have not ever experienced in my life. For the nice girl that has the quality of being easily forgiving, I want you to ask yourself in that moment how many times you're going to be forgiving. Ask yourself, is this a continued behavior that I am allowing to be forgiven? Okay, because one thing that we all have to watch out for is toxicity being poured into our lives through the lines of other people. It's one thing to forgive. I am a very forgiving person. That's what the Father, the Lord God, teaches us, is to be very forgiving people, have a kind, gentle heart towards others. All men and women, it doesn't matter. But you also have to know when to politely remove yourself from people. Cut that lifeline off from people who are continuing to bring you the same types of problems. So again, if it's a continued behavior that I'm constantly, repetitively forgiving, then obviously we have a disconnect somewhere. And until you can figure that out for yourself, then maybe I just need to remove myself. We can break up relationships in a respectful way. I've had a handful, not even a handful, I'd say maybe 2 to 3 different friendships and relationships over time that I was just like, hey, I wish you well. I wish you nothing but the best, but I'm just going to proceed in my life and you proceed in your life. I wish you the best, you wish me the best, and we can cut ties. It's okay to do, okay? It's done all the time, so don't think that it's something that is foreign territory if you were to go and look through all of the people in your Rolodex and figure out which lifelines you need to start cutting off, because you don't want to bring toxicity into your life. You really don't. For my nice girls who like to go with the masses, and I'm going to continue to use my example of the Chinese and the Chipotle. You knew good and well you wanted some Chinese food, okay? But again, in that moment, you was like, oh, it's okay. Again, you didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. You didn't want to make anyone upset. But how many times are we going to go through the same process of not speaking our minds, okay? You got to speak in that moment. Don't be afraid to speak your mind in that moment. And at the end of the day, you grown. If you wanted some Chinese food and they wanted Chipotle, get in your car and go get you some Chinese food. But don't be afraid to speak your mind, okay? Your opinions are valid, just like everybody else's opinions are valid. So don't feel like you have to just go with the masses all the time to make everyone else happy. You can be happy too. So that's something that I really want you to ask yourself in that moment. Say, you know what? This is what I want. What do you guys think? Just state how you feel. The more that you begin to state how you feel, the more confidence you'll begin to build, and you'll notice that you're starting to turn into that more firm woman who is very, I won't say very opinionated, but you'll just notice that you're becoming stronger in your stance. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. That's it. The last nice girl quality that we got to touch on is being readily available. And this is a good one because sometimes we do move, like we'll do movement based off of what other people need instead of based off of what we need in that moment. Sorry, you guys, I am not used to wearing long hair, and I just put this wig on today for a partnership. So if you see me like trying to fix my hair, this is way longer than I normally wear it, but I digress. Anyway, last nice girl quality is that one who's readily available. I want you to ask yourself in that moment, is this going to disrupt my plan? Okay. If it's going to cause disruption to your day, don't do it. Okay. If you have ran yourself a bubble bath, you done had you a good glass of red wine, you sitting there and you done turned on Love Jones because that's your favorite love story in the world. If you've done all of that and you're sitting relaxing and somebody calls you and you're like, hey, let's go out to dinner. And because you don't want to make your friend upset, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll go. That is interrupting your plan. You cannot be readily available just because somebody else needs you in that moment, or because they might even not need you. They might just want you to do something with them. Stop making yourself readily available. There is so much solitude in just being alone sometimes. There is just a certain level of peace within that, just being by yourself. It is okay. And what I've had to learn myself, even, you know, as I have moved myself away from being that nice girl all the time, is no is a full statement and no is a full answer. Okay. I used to be that person that would be like, well, I can't do it because I gotta go pick my son up from basketball practice. Then I gotta go to the grocery store, and then I gotta come back and record a video because I got a video that's due on Sunday. No. People don't need an explanation, okay? You give whatever answer you want. And if in that moment you're like, no, I'm not available, then just say, no, I'm not available, and leave it at that. So I really hope that those questions begin to spark, you know, something for you to start asking yourself in that moment if this is going to affect who you're trying to become, okay? Because again, we can't become that woman that we, you know, can envision ourselves as in our mind. We can't become her unless we are willing to do the action that takes place in order to become her. And the action is that we need to start setting those boundaries, and we need to start asking ourselves these questions in the moment where we feel like our qualities are being taken advantage of and all of that good stuff. So again, I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's little chit chat. Like I said, I feel like I'm getting back to my roots, because just even like, I don't know, just sitting in this seat and, you know, with my little notes, and I don't know, y'all, like I'm just really feeling great. I have been feeling so motivated here recently with my content and just kind of feeling re-inspired. So I don't know, like I really enjoy having these little value-based talks, because you know, it can really help us transform. And that's one of my biggest things. Like, y'all know, I do the beauty thing. I do the wig tutorials, the hair, the makeup tutorials, the vlogging, all that. But one thing that I am very passionate about is actually reinventing myself and just really becoming a different version of myself. This woman that you guys see here today is not the same woman that I was even just a short year ago. It's not the same woman. So I really enjoy doing these kind of talks because I hope it gives encouragement to you guys to have transformation in your life as well. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about the questions that I posed, as far as, you know, the things that we maybe need to ask ourselves or talk ourselves through in the moment where we feel like our qualities are being taken for granted. Comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap here. If you know, like you know, because you've been here before, you already know what I'm about to say. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below, baby. And also make sure that you are hitting that notification bell as well, so you can see when the videos are going up on my channel. Until next time, guys. Bye.